Good morning. We made it. I hope you're having a beautiful day and are off to a beautiful morning. So today we are talking about, sacred reflection. So going deeper within, and we're going to be talking about oracle cards today. And I have to be. There was no way. Sorry, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's quiet. There's no way I could talk about introspection and not talk about oracle cards, because for me they were like a pivotal transition point in me learning to go deeper within, and not just that, there's so many different things that came from them that really shifted my perspective and vantage point. And so I remember when I think, I'd known of them, and quite honestly, which was, as part of this journey, is there was a little bit of fear around them, because kind of, overarchingly, there's a little bit of a stigma when people think of tarot cards or oracle cards. They think of it from a place of telling the future or being mystical, and I'm not even sure why at this point, but there's a pretty good perception that they're evil, or they've got something negative to offer, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Hands down, if I had to tell you one tool that could help you go deeper within, this would be it. And so I just want to start by explaining a little bit that there are kind of two different aspects to this. So there is a big difference between tarot cards and oracle cards, and both actually are incredible. But tarot has a specific, the word that comes up is rules, but it's not probably quite the right way to explain it. But the cards stand for specific things, and no matter what tarot deck you get, it's going to abide by these same principles. And so there's, you could think of it similarly to a deck of cards, where it's almost like you have different suits, which are like the wands and the cups. And so they have different suits that are always going to be the same. And so even though tarot cards still have different creators and different artwork and different symbolism, they're still going to follow these basic outlines. And so when you get into the history of tarot and really start to understand what the cards mean, it can give you really, really specific guidance. But at the end of the day, it's all just a tool of what they call is a tool of divination. It's like a tool of being able to help you access the divine, and that's it. Where oracle decks are a little more open, in the sense that they don't follow a specific rule. Each oracle deck is going to have its own kind of energy to it, and it's going to be based on whatever the creator of that deck was intending. The artwork is going to be very specific to it, and the messages are going to be coming from, whatever that creator was feeling. And so I don't know tarot. I haven't taken the time to learn it, so I've always leaned more towards oracle, because you can be a complete beginner and be able to step into oracle cards. But the first time I did oracle cards was was in a shadow work class. I remember the deck. What was it for? It was a shadow work deck. I can probably even find it. Oh. So it was this deck, and this deck has a little bit of a heavier feel to it, because it is about accessing the shadows. And by heavier, I just mean it's going to point to things that are going to stir and help you access things a little bit more deeply. And so, like, for example, the artwork's still really, really beautiful. And you still have these really, really incredible pictures. But then there's some pictures in here that are going to kind of stir a little more energy. Like, I remember when I'd get this one being like, oh dear. And so this one was made to help you go deeper into the shadows. And the whole aspect of the class was looking at the things that we're afraid to look at. And when I say shadows, it's just that. It's the things that we've kept in the closet, the things that we don't want to face. And especially because it was a class about facing things I didn't want to face, I can't tell you how life-changing it was to use an oracle deck, because for the first time in my life, it felt safe. It felt safe to face things. And when I would focus on these cards or these questions of introspection and then draw a card, all of a sudden there was like room to explore it, because I didn't feel any judgment. I didn't feel any harshness. And this is a big thing, is I think a lot of our fear around emotions comes from because maybe we've had experiences where we've tried to explore emotions or tried to talk to people about our emotions, and it was responded to in a very negative way. And so then we get really gun shy of being honest or of saying our truth or talking about this, but this creates a really safe way to do that. And the other thing that is just incredible for me was that I had kind of grown up in a dynamic where everyone always was pulling for other people's opinions, and it made it really hard to figure out like what your own opinion was and to not like be in the drama of everyone's opinions. And so this was like a way to see a different vantage point without having to ask someone. Like, I can go in and be like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on. Can you please give me guidance? Like, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? And then I can pull a card and go, oh my gosh, I totally wasn't seeing that. Or that's a completely different way to look at it. And so it's really helped me to learn how to go deeper and how to see things from an expanded view. But I would say the greatest gift that has come from it is developing a relationship with God. Like, it's crazy when you start to do it, and you'll be on a journey and you'll pull the same card 3 times in 1 week, like out of a whole deck. Like, how's that even possible? And so then you start to really know, like, man, there is someone that's listening to me. Like, there is someone that really loves me and is concerned about my concerns. And that was huge for me, because there was a lot of spiritual and religious questions and challenges that I was working out. And so to have something that was separate from everything to help me begin to build that relationship was so profound. But then the other thing is that it really helped me to start trusting my intuition, because I would be having thoughts and feelings, and then I would pull a card that 1,000% confirmed what I was feeling or what was coming up for me. And that was huge. It still is huge, because there's these times that we feel confused and we don't know if we're crazy or we don't know if we're on the right path. And then you can pull a card and go, wow, like, thank you for that confirmation. Like, that's too accurate to be happenstance. And so it's just a really incredible tool. But I want to be clear, it still is just a tool. And as you develop these, strengthen these muscles is really what it is. Now I don't have to pull a card. I can pray and I can speak with the divine. And and not have to use that tool, because like every and any tool can become a crutch. And I can also access my own intuition and know that it's safe and know that I can trust myself. But then at this point, I just think they're fun most of the time, and I love coming back to it, and it still does expand my perspective and vantage point. So I wanted to pull a card today and just kind of give you a feel for what that's like. So I wanted to pull from my very, very first deck. It's called Work Your Light, and it's by Rebecca Campbell, and she makes several decks, but she has been such a gift to me. Talk about a spiritual giant that has just made a huge impact in my life. I love Rebecca Campbell. So there's lots of ways you can pull cards. You can spread them out, and you could pick a card. You could cut your deck, a few different times, and then just pull the one that's on top. But I like the feel of the magic of things. So I like to shuffle my cards and wait for one to pop out. And so that's what we'll do today. Like that. See that? It's crazy. It just like flies right out. I didn't do anything different. And so then it's like, okay, this is like God just speaking right to me. And it says, has this beautiful picture. All of Rebecca Campbell's stuff has like just really light and happy and beautiful artwork. And so this one says, Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, and divine plan. And so, this is kind of fun looking at this from kind of a collective perspective and drawing this today. And then every book's going to be different. Some is going to be put together through categories. Some are going to be put together in alphabetical order. This one's in categories, so it's making it harder on me. All right, 88. So this one says, Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being, while knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. Anna teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. It doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another's may be to gather women in circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. And at the end of this one it says, Work Your Light activation. Hold the card to your heart and say, Beloved Anna, thank you for laying the foundations for the divine plan. May the seeds of light within me be revealed, and may I surrender to my part of the divine plan. And I love that it was this card, because when you use oracle cards, it doesn't mean like you have to believe in all of it. Like maybe you don't believe in Anna being the grandmother of Jesus. But it's like, what is it pointing to? And today we pulled for the collective being on this live Instagram, and what it's pointing to is reminding us that's why we're here. We all have an important and individual role to play, and it takes courage to show up. And a reminder that you're safe, and that you're loved, and that you're held, and that I think God's so grateful that we're showing up, and that we're willing to be true to who we are, And to just remember, no matter where you're playing, no matter what environment you're in today, that it's making an impact. And so this weekend we'll be talking about kind of how to integrate this even more. But if you have never done it, and if you have questions, feel free to write a message below or to reach out, and we can help you feel safe in navigating and entering into that space. But there's lots of tools and there's lots of ways. This is just one. But the big takeaway is remembering that there is a God that loves you, and that the divine wants to have a relationship with you, and how important it is to learn how to trust yourself and to increase in that intuition. So today, whether you pull a card or not, it's a reminder that you matter, and that wherever you're at, you are making a difference. So sending you lots of love and wishing you a beautiful day.